More than half of Nigerians are from the northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria's population is about 130 million people, which is more than the population of some 25 countries. The combined population of 25 countries, which means northern Nigeria is more populous than some 25 countries in the world. Northern Nigeria contributes more than 70% of Nigeria's grains, millet, rice, maize, sorghum. More than 70% of Nigeria's grains are produced in northern Nigeria, which makes the northern Nigeria the agricultural hub for the country. And more than 90% of Nigeria's livestock are produced in the north, with vast stretches of arable land. Northern Nigeria covers more than 78% of the land mass of the country, which represents huge potential for commercial farming. Northern Nigeria has huge solid mineral deposits ranging from gold, limestone, uranium, tin, oil, gas, columbite, and so many other solid mineral resources. Unfortunately, this region, despite the vast potential, is still ravaged by poverty, with more than 60% of the people living in the north live below the poverty line. And this contributed to making Nigeria the 5th country in poverty count.
Now, this issue between the northern leaders and the western leaders is really getting serious. So, honestly, in fact, the northerners are now saying that, Oga, we regret voting for Tinubu. We regret voting for Tinubu, but no wahala. Make it just rule this one. In the next 4 years, 2027, we are going to show you shege. We are going to do this. We are going to do that. And they are all blasting the president. And this issue started with this tax reform. They said they no agree for tax reform. President say, lie, una must agree by fire by force. In fact, as I'm speaking to you now, the governor of Bauchi State is in big wahala with the president now over this tax reform. So the leaders is coming out to say, Omo, we regret voting for you, but no wahala. After these 4 years, 2027, you go see shege. In fact, you don't even know that one of our local government is bigger than some states in the West, and all this and all that and all that. Hey, voila. Anyway, I don't really have anything to say there. My own is just to sit down and watch. We'll be looking at them. We use our this thing and be looking at them, looking how the thing is going, And my work is to bring you all the information here. And that is why you need to subscribe to this channel. Because on this channel, we bring you information as they go for Nigeria. So please now, I'm going to allow you to watch this man said. This man said a lot of things about the Hausas and the Yorubas or the Westerners. Yes, he said a lot of things. In fact, he was doing comparison. Okay, you are this, look at what we are. You are this, look at what we are. He's just reminding them to show them, say, that thing where they feel say when I get, we get and pass on now. Well, hey, let me allow you to watch the video now, all right? So please kindly watch it. Remember to subscribe to this channel, please. But for now, watch it.
More than 80% of the counted 20 million children out of school are from northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria ravaged by insecurity. In just 1 year, from 2023 to 2024, more than 600 people were killed. If you remember the massacre, the killings in Rwanda, there were just 800,000 people. But in 1 year in Nigeria, more than 600,000 people were killed, most of them from northern Nigeria. More than 2 million people were kidnapped in just 1 year. Most of this happened in northern Nigeria. With trillions of naira being spent to tackle insecurity, insecurity still lingers in northern Nigeria, which rendered thousands of large-scale farmlands unproductive. Also putting the country at the risk of food insecurity. When it comes to maternal death, more than 60% of maternal deaths happen in northern Nigeria, which is one of the highest in the world. And close to half of children in northern Nigeria, they experience poor developmental growth, mental growth, and stunting due to malnutrition. And this also poses a threat for the future development. When it comes to birth rate, Nigeria is the 5th country in the world in terms of birth rate, and largely contributed by northern Nigeria, which has an average birth rate of 5 children per woman. In terms of child street begging, Nigeria is second after India, largely contributed by northern Nigerian syndrome of child street begging. Sahara Desert is fast advancing at the speed of 600 meters per year, posing a threat to the livelihood of states like Sokoto, Borno, and Katsina states, which also affect the agricultural productivity of the northern Nigeria. Unemployment is on the rise. If you look at the count of states, the ranking of Nigerian states in terms of GDP contribution, the top 9 states, none of them is from the north. You talk about Lagos, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Imo states, Delta states, Anambra states, Ondo, Ogun, and Bayelsa. None of them is from northern Nigeria. The closest state that came to the top is Niger State, that came the 10th in terms of GDP contribution, which means majority of the GDP in Nigeria is not produced in northern Nigeria. What if northern Nigeria is a country? What is the GDP count of northern Nigeria? Most of the state governments heavily rely on the Federation Account Allocation Committee funds, which become their single lifeline. Reduce that, it affects their productivity and their development. And this represents huge challenge and risk to the development of the region. And because of the growing population, this little resources is overstretched and is becoming inadequate. With each set of generation, they are 1.5 times more than their preceding generation. If you look at the generation from 10 years below, they are 1.5 times more than the generation between the age of 20 and 10 years old in northern Nigeria, further stretching the need for more resources for development. Without it, the development of this ever-growing population is not guaranteed. With our agriculture being under-mechanized and access to finance is limited, especially due to our culture and our faith, which has been alluded earlier on, that due to interest rates, or rather interest, northern Nigerians are excluded financially. Financial exclusion is one of the major hindrances to even agricultural development, because as far as I am concerned too, interest is haram. And there is no justification for you to collect interest in the name of doing agriculture. So we should not be only limited to Jaiz Bank when it comes to funding businesses. We should have banks like the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, and all these development banks providing free interest grants or loans. Because we are people of religion. And if there is no religious inclusivity in our policies, in our system, in our agencies, then Nigeria, northern Nigeria, will always be left behind. Because Nigeria cannot develop without the north. The development of Nigeria is largely dependent on northern Nigeria. Develop the north, you develop the nation. And anything that affects it, affects the entire country. And there is an urgent need to rescue northern Nigeria. And to do that, we need to start a journey of rapid development. And this journey, I believe, starts here today, in this venue, and with these people. Because it's not about our numbers. It's not about our conviction. It's about our passion. It's about our actions. And what I like about these agendas is that it encompasses all aspects of development. And it represents the need to have a unanimous development agenda in northern Nigeria. Development in northern Nigeria must be unanimous and must be concurrent. One state cannot be pushing for development and the other is not. We must unanimously agree on one course and together drive toward that. It's a single journey, it's a single destination, it's a single bus with passengers all in that one bus. And that's why I believe in these goals that is called Northern Nigeria Development Goals. Because they can serve as a uniting point for us to begin this journey of transforming the Northern Nigeria. Because I always want to believe we are the ones that Northern Nigeria have been waiting for. Northern Nigeria has been singing praises and appreciating people like Sardauna. But who are the next set of Sardaunas? You should tell yourself, you are the ones that the Northern Nigeria has been waiting for. Sometimes it's not about the leaders. It's not about the political leaders. It's not about election. It's not about changing leaders. It's not about having a northerner as a president, but it's about the people of the region. You rise and be and represent yourself and take action to salvage all these problems we talk about. I'm not underemphasizing the importance of leadership, but political leadership is key to every development. But also the people of the region must do their part. And likewise, that's why I say today I'm very thrilled and happy that we are all united here under these 7 goals of inclusive economic growth, quality education, women and youth development, governance and security, health and social well-being, resilience to environmental challenges, and regional partnership and collaboration. Northern Nigeria will never grow without regional partnership among the states, moving on the single agenda, uniting and linking the economic chains of the region. That's the only way Northern Nigeria could grow. But all these development goals, they are also subjected to certain conditions. And I want to appreciate Dr. Murtala Adogi and his team for coming up with these very beautiful goals. Not only set the goals, but also set the success factors that must be achieved first before you achieve these goals. He also come up with targets that we must achieve this target in the next 20 years. Because in the next 20 years, Northern Nigeria population will be 260 million people, more than the current population of the country. And then what's the plan for the future? The future will not easily come. We have to create it. And these goals represent the image, the map for the future. These conditions that we must have in Northern Nigeria, number 1 is security. No development. The foundation of every development is security. So it's our number 1 priority. Number 2 is our mindset. The northern Nigeria must rise and stop thinking they are northern Nigeria, or they are even Nigeria or Africa. They have to start thinking they are global, looking at the global trends, opportunities, and globalization and fitting into the global world. You also have to change the mindset that dismiss any development potential in the country and say, oh, that kind of high level of development cannot happen in Nigeria. When we see countries that have developed, advanced, we say, oh, this development can only happen in those countries. It cannot happen in Nigeria. This mindset has stopped us from development because we don't believe development is possible in northern Nigeria, not even in Nigeria. We have to change this mindset. People with this same mindset sometimes might be elected to political positions and they act based on this mindset. Recently, I was studying a research and I found out that there's not any reason our country can progress without a seaport. And I was wondering, and I fathered my research. And I saw the reasons. And if northern Nigeria has to develop, they must have a seaport. Everything you import from where the sea must land in Lagos. That's why Lagos is one of the most thriving states, sometimes richer than perhaps most part of northern Nigeria. And it becomes more expensive to even import things into northern Nigeria because we don't have access to seaports. Also, foreign direct investment. We've been talking about agriculture. Even the oil sector that we are proud of. Oil sector didn't become the oil sector today, if not because of the foreign direct investment. So also agriculture. Agriculture is not contributing significantly to the foreign exchange earning of the country. Why? Because we don't have foreign direct investment. So we need to have white people, foreigners, or even Africans coming into Nigeria and invest in agriculture, make it modern and mechanized. I know that we can still have the pride and say we can do it. Yes, we can do it. But on top of that, we need to attract investors to come and invest in agriculture. We also have to change the mindset of our rich people, our investors. I asked one of my staff to give me a count of how many filling stations do we have in Katsina town. And he couldn't finish counting. I'm sure, Mustafa, you can help me with some data if you have. Because we have thousands of filling stations in one town, but we don't have factories. We don't have even simple processing plants. Everyone that gets money will either go and do bureau de change, keep the dollar, wait for the dollar to appreciate, sell the dollar and become richer. No adding value. Or you open filling station to collect the petrol and go and sell it in Niger Republic. What value have you added? Our people with the money, they have to change their mindset. I was driving Professor Lumumba when I brought him to Katsina. We are driving from Kano to Katsina. And he saw all the trees, all the mangoes. He said, do you have the mango processing plants? I was embarrassed and I said, no. With all the mangoes in Katsina town, I don't know if there is any mango processing juice or plant in northern in Katsina. So we have the money, but our people with the money, they are investing it in easy investment. So we must invest in productivity, in manufacturing sector, in processing agricultural produce. What we produce is the raw, and then we sell the raw. Even the animal skin, we sell it raw. We don't process it. How many animals do you slaughter in a town in northern Nigeria? Daily. The people that are doing balangu and sire and all these meat sellers, how many animals are they killing every day? Those skins are valuable resources that we can process and export to other countries. So you have to change the mindset of people with the money, the rich people, to have the right investment. Sometimes government has to come in to support people with the right ideas to invest. Sometimes it's not about the money, but the idea. And as lofty as these ideas are, all these goals are, I also want to align with the first presenter that say it comes down to money. And Murtala, I want to also challenge us here that Yes, we are waiting for government to also fund development of this, achievement of these goals. But we also have to do our part. And I was doing a simple calculations last night. And I said, what if in each of these 19 northern states, we get at least 500,000 people who will contribute 20,000 naira every month for 12 months in 19 northern states, 500,000 people. How much money can we gather? It's more than 2 trillion naira. In 1 year, we can contribute at least 2.2 trillion naira and invest this money on goal number 1 only. Next year, the next 2.2 trillion naira will be invested in second goal. And then in the next 7 years, you realize that each goal have been invested or injected with 2.2 trillion naira by people, not by government. If government decide to do that to support, to augment this, then that's fine. So we need to have what you call the Northern Nigeria Development Trust Fund.
So drop on the comments what to think about this video, right? And wait for the next one, because the next one is hot. Thank you for watching. God bless you.